What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. So today we decided to make a video about some tool equipment that we just picked up, and it's going to be a short video. We're just going to introduce some of the stuff that we got for the shop, and I'm going to let Jake take over and talk about the new equipment.
We hit up Eastwood Tools. They, it's a lower priced option for people starting out, and we just kind of wanted to upgrade some of the stuff we got. Currently, only thing I got for welding purposes is Millermatic 211. It's a good MIG machine. I really like it. It's got the auto set feature. But when you're getting into the thin wall tubing, you really want to move to the TIG side of things, because you can do the control on the fly. So if you guys are doing like any stainless on a MIG and getting frustrated, you might want to, throw around the idea of upgrading to a TIG. So this would be considered. We're gonna unbox it, and through this process, we're just gonna give you an honest opinion. We're not sponsored by Eastwood, but it's got pretty good reviews. It looks pretty reliable. Its duty cycle's okay for what we're gonna be doing. Thin wall tubing, some 120 thousandths, 95 thousandths wall, mild steel tubing. So let's open this up. We also got a pipe notcher from Eastwood. High capacity tubing bender, and we currently picked up the 1 3/4 or 1.750 dies, and I believe they're the 240 degree, and we picked up 1.5 dies as well, 240 degrees. They have an option for, I think it was I can't remember, it was like 120 or 240, and my thought was, you could just do a wider bend if you wanted to loop out the end of a bar. So, all right, let's pop this open. And we also picked up a notcher. So we're gonna be making some, bash bars, roll cages, 4-point, 6-point, who knows where we're gonna go with it. But let's pop some of these open and take a look. And like I said, this is an honest opinion. We're not selling this. This is what we chose, and we're gonna see if it's worth our money, so you guys will figure out the same. I'm always real leery about going and spending my money and buying a piece of junk, and then and just one thing before I forget this, they offer a 90-day. If you don't like it, take it back. So if you guys pick one of these up, just keep the box, keep the receipt, all the packing, and it's no questions asked. Let's open some of these up. This is the tubing notcher. Now you're gonna use your household drill to actually operate this. So it's mounted in a vise. We'll have to go through thoroughly when we get it set up so you can see actually how it works. But first opinion, doesn't look too bad. If it makes good notches and does what we need, then it's going to be worth the money. We can get prices. I don't know the prices off the top of my head for everything we bought today, but it doesn't look too bad. It is made overseas. You're gonna spend 4 or 5 times more buying American made, but if you're doing it every day, all day, that might be the route to go. I might recommend that, but for right now, this is what we're trying out. So that's the tubing notcher. I mean, just looking at the picture, it looks like you can mount it on a table vertically. I'm gonna want to mount that probably horizontal. Is gonna be the way to go. Horizontal, that way you're not operating the drill. But I got a big 1/2-inch air drill. If you have air tools, that might be a good option. If consider running an air, because if you only got 2 batteries and you're trying to notch quite a few pipes, you're gonna burn up your electric drills and your batteries. So something like this, if you have an air drill, it might be a good option. All right, next we're gonna hit up this high capacity tubing bender. It looked pretty good in the showroom. It looked pretty stout. There's other companies online, and a couple of my buddies had picked them up, and I just compared pictures to what this one had, and they said they liked it, and this is actually a little bit cheaper option for some of the other companies that sell these. So I don't know, you guys are gonna find out just like us if we spend our money in the right place, or we have to steer you guys away so you don't make the same mistake. Or if it's good, then a good place to source some tooling. here. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I mean, you can build go-karts, bash bars, roll cages, anything you need. I'll have to read. Maybe we can throw this in the video for like maximum capacity and wall thickness, but it's supposedly rated for at least what we're doing, which is, like I said, the largest we got is 1.750 OD, 120 thousandths wall thickness. I mean, it's pretty beefy. Looks pretty good. And like I said, we were able, if you got an Eastwood local to you, you can go in the showroom and actually check these out and see them assembled, which is an awesome feature. You know, if you buy something online, you don't know till you get it to your house, and then you're looking at shipping it back, and you know, if they're gonna eat that cost or you're gonna eat that cost. So it's pretty simple. I mean, this is the main part that all the dies will go in. Everything looks decent quality, got nice, looks like maybe some bronze bushings in there. It's gonna help with the wear. Machining looks all right. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, I always like to look at the fine details if they don't got bushings or whatnot. So yeah, that looks all right. And then these are gonna be all your pins. And it actually has, we'll have to figure this out and we'll let you guys know when we get it together. It's got it looks like for flood coolant. I don't know necessarily, unless you got one of those cool mist, I could show you guys. Cool mist, or maybe you hook a oiler up to that and you can oil the die. I mean, definitely you might want to oil the die before you go to town, because it's just going to help that the outer die slide on the tubing. But I'm interested in seeing how that will really work, that little cooling adapter or coolant line. It has to be for one of those two, because you see those on CNC machines, manual machines. It's usually they operate that with flood coolant. All right, so first impression, it looks decent quality. Hardware looks good. You know, nice self-locking nuts. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Check out the machining on these pins. Let's see if I can get all these out. Yeah, the pins don't look too bad. Decent quality. So I'm excited, and hopefully it's a good product, and if you guys want to get out there and start making your own stuff as well, you'll have a decent review. We'll bring you along through the ride, you know, first bends and everything with all this stuff. All right, so that's the top piece, and then we got a stand. I mean, this is the handle. Depends on how thick a tubing you get. You might need to put a little extension on that. So we'll see. We'll see if that's enough, and we'll let you guys know any recommendations we got. All right, so this is the main stand for it. It looked pretty good. It's just a stand. Saw it in the store. It looked pretty stout. You know, in the store they didn't have everything cinched down, so we really want to crank this down. So let's check it out and see what they. And you guys can compare some of these. You know, what do we got there? That's 150 thousandths wall thickness. It shows on the main leg. Oh, that might have been a little bare. 130 thousandths. So it's not too bad. And this looks to be the top plate that it mounts to. And you know, you can compare little things like this. If you see one that's more stout, this is flimsy, you know, you might want to you know, consider the larger options. But we're gonna let you know if this is good. And what do we got there? That's 3/4 inch plate on the top. This is pretty good steel. Hopefully that'll be all we need. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's check out this base. The base and that tube is gonna be where the strength's at. You know, the twisting force. You're gonna have an angry gorilla on the backside of that bar yanking on these pipes. So what do we got here? All right, here we go. So we got two. This is how this thing's gonna mount to the floor, just so you guys want to see like ground clearance, if you have the option to put one of these in your shop, you can still drive a car over or whatnot. Looks like these two plates right here. I mean, this is, oh, here we go. So these are gonna be what's bolted onto the ground. That's gonna go in between, and it's got some angle plates here. So, you know, I think it's gonna be, if you wanna remove the stand, that's about the height, which I would say that's probably, you know, maybe 6 inches, 5, something around there, 5, 6 inches. So that's not too bad if you got, you know, 2 car and you still need to park a car. As long as you got enough ground clearance, you could bolt and unbolt this. So yeah, that's it for the stand. Just a couple basic pieces. All the hardware looks pretty good. We'll let you guys know if everything's included. Hopefully we got some extra washers and bolts. Those are just like finding an extra chicken nugget in you know, a 10 piece. This is the degree plate for all your bends. And like I said, we got the 240 degree die. They had an option for, I want to say 120 degree die, which was less money, but you know, you might run into something, especially if you're doing, you know, bumpers, bash bars. When we say bash bars, it's kind of like a bumper, more or less. A lot of guys are liking those these days, so that's what we're getting into. If you want to do an end of a bar, like a full loop, you know, a little bit more money, you can get the 240 degree, or you might want to hit a 190 degree bend or 210 degree bend, and then you're gonna have to spend way more money to get the other die, and they're not gonna take the other die once it's been used. So that's just the degree plate. We'll show you it once it's all together. And these are the dies. Like I said, this is the 1.5 inch, 240 degree die. And first impression, you know, the machining, it looks real smooth. I don't see any like damage from shipping or imperfections, and you know, even if you had a little bit of that, it wouldn't be a game ender. You know, you could kind of blend that out, smooth it, but you don't want any sharp burrs or anything inside these dies. If you get one that's all chewed up, I would, you know, steer clear of it. So yeah, first impression looks pretty good. I mean, I think I could do better welds than that, but I think it'll hold. So, looks pretty good. And both of them come with 3 pieces in this kit, so make sure you got all 3 pieces. This is the strap that's actually going to hold the pipe in as you're doing the bend, and this is the outer die. This one's a little bit rough. We'll see how it works. I mean, it's not bad. You know, the machining could be a little bit smoother. This side's a lot smoother. So if they're pumping a lot of these out, some of the tooling might have wore down by the time they made this piece, but it looks okay. It doesn't look too bad. As long as it gets the desired bends that we want, it'll be good and doesn't leave too many tooling marks. Possibly even polish that out a little bit, smooth it down. All right, so like this is the 1.5 inch, 240 degree die, sold at Eastwood. Same place we got, you know, the welder and the tubing notcher. We just wanted to go ahead and get it all, you know, upgrade some of our capabilities here, you know, instead of having to go places and get a couple pieces of pipe bent or people, you know, we're doing it here now. So that's what we're doing. So that's the 1 3/4 is going to be the same deal, just much heavier, much beefier. You know, this one's finish looks pretty good on here. I mean, that one's all right, but you know, it looks pretty good. It's going to be a repeat of the same. You're looking for 3 pieces in this kit. They had one of these out on the floor, and the lady was nice enough to be like, oh, hey, there's a 3rd piece, and browse the case. So if you pick up 2, you're going to be missing a piece. You want 3 pieces and a bag of hardware in the kit. It's got a little roll pin in there as well. So that's just the same repeat, just much larger. All right, this is what I'm most excited about, TIG welder. Currently I'm running a Miller-Matic 211 with auto set. It's a great welder, it's a MIG machine. Runs on 110 or 220. You know, you just simply screw on the plug. I do believe it runs better on 220. I don't know if it's in my head, but it seems a little bit smoother. And you know, of course, your thickness capabilities and duty cycles will be up with the 220. But that's currently what we have, and we're trying to get into more thin wall tubing. At least that's the plan. That's what we're going to be getting into. You know, thin wall stainless, thin wall aluminum. You know, we're steering clear of that like exhaust pipe stuff. We're going for maybe some titanium someday. So that's why we upgraded. You know, all our steel capabilities, we got it covered with the Miller-Matic. I'm not doing any heavy structural welding, so that covers it. You know, you can't run a spool gun on one of these, but a spool gun's huge. It looks like a little machine gun, and like it doesn't fit anywhere, and it's like pull and go. Like you don't have the foot pedal control. So if you're doing thin wall stuff and you want it to look real good, TIG's the way to go. They offered one of these in digital, and I just went on and looked up the reviews. I'm not saying it's bad, the digital one, but there was a lot of people, they returned some units. They said the customer service was pretty good from the reviews I read, and they fixed them up, but there's quite a few of those. I didn't see nothing about this really. And even the person at the store said, you know, they've had returns on the other ones. We were weighing the options. It had more control, like pulse control. This one does not. It's like more of a manual unit, but the duty cycle was up a little bit on this one. So, you know, if you're planning on doing some welding, I'm kind of after the duty cycle. We'll see if it lays down a good weld. I think it might be a little bit more control on the welder, like the person welding, without all those controls, but we'll see how it works and we'll let you know. So here we go. I'm stoked. I'm gonna be TIG welding everything. Break my wife's gonna break one of her bird feeders and TIG weld that. Right. Barbecue grill, TIG weld that. Actually, my legs just fell off my grill the other day. I MIG welded it like 2.5 years ago. It just rusted out, so maybe it's time for a new grill. One way or another. All right, what do we got here? Oh, this one, I'll let you know. I looked at the actual sheet on the internet to see what it came with. I was kind of in a hurry when I went in there and picked it up. Knew I needed a TIG welder, so comes with a foot pedal. Obviously comes with a torch. There's your gas line. I mean, that's going to be pretty standard for most welders. There's a ground clamp, ground lead. Those look like some covers. Probably a little bit of assembly required. Yes, that's what I was after. I just picked up, so for you guys welding aluminum, you know, you'll get 20 different answers, but just for basic aluminum welding, you're gonna want 100% argon, and I have 75-25 I'm running on my MIG just for basic steel. They use some helium for like, it's like automated welding. So most recommendations are 100% argon. Just stopped by Air Gas this morning, picked up this tank. This, and you own these tanks, it's not a lease tank, so it's not like you have to pay a monthly deal. This was $230. You know, it'll last a while. If you're not welding all day, like laying beads all day, this is gonna last you a while. Just make sure you turn off your regulator. And if you got people using your equipment, make sure you stay on them, because it's a bummer when someone leaves this on and it just bleeds out through the machine. So, yeah, so 100% argon is what we're running for aluminum. And then if I have to, if we're gonna be doing steel, I can either run the MIG machine or also switch the gas lines on the back of the welder. They're both the same. That looks the same as the Miller unit, so I'll have to verify that. Let me check real quick. So yeah, so if I have to switch over, you know, and I don't want to burn up the 100% argon and I'm doing steel with the TIG, because I'm gonna be welding most stuff with this, unless it's, you know, just some wide open stuff with the MIG. The fittings for the gas are the same. So if you got a setup like I got, and you got a 75-25 argon CO2 and argon, you can just swap the gas lines to the back of the welder. It's the same as the Millers, so that's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's pretty much standard, but I don't know, maybe you guys don't know that. Let's see what else. So it does come with a regulator, which is cool. What do we got? We got some adapters here. Oh, I think this unit might as well be a 115 230 or 120, 220, or whatever you want to say. Yeah, it looks like it has an adapter. The Miller's adapter is a little bit better than this, of course, but like I said, this is a TIG machine. You can spend as much money as you want on one of these. But yeah, this looks like an adapter, and that matches the Miller welder, so you won't have to change it. It's a standard 3-prong 220. So it's looking like if you want to run this thing on 115, there you go. So that's a cool. There she is. So like I said, this one doesn't have all the options. So we're gonna see if this works. You know, if you got, I think it was like $700, maybe a little bit over with tax. But if you really got to TIG weld some stuff and this works, we're gonna let you know. But it doesn't have the pulse and frequency control and all that. But we're gonna see if this does what we need. We just got the amperage, clearance effect, post and pre-flow. A lot of you guys, if you run MIG welders, sometimes it's frustrating when it's a little bit windy or something, and you know, you're in the shop, there's a little breeze, and you stop your weld, and it blows that shielding gas out because it stops instantly. It's frustrating. Sometimes you'll get a little pop or a little pinhole in there. So that's one of the cool things about this. I mean, all TIG welders are gonna have this, but it does have that. If it didn't have that, I would be like, no. But it does have pre and post flow, so you can keep the shielding gas flowing after you stop the arc, and that way it keeps it shielded while it cools down, so you don't get any oxidation in the weld or like little pinholes. That's usually what I see with the MIG. If there's like a little breeze, you get a little pinhole. So looks pretty good quality. I mean, if it lays down welds and does it for long enough, it's gonna be well worth the money. You guys are gonna get the first-hand scoop, whether this is good or not. Up here on top, it does have some, what does it got? Yeah, it's got a couple of the settings. You know, you might want to cover that up or protect it if you're a new welder. Even just with like some clear tape or something, because like one whiff of some brake cleaner accidentally on the top, it might eat that off, and then you might be looking up something on your phone for, you know, settings. But this is like basic settings, and the only advice I can give is, you know, put it at one of these settings. Just, you know, start from scratch. If you've never welded before and you're like, I'm gonna TIG today, you know, set it at one of these settings and then go from there. Like, you don't have to stay at those settings. You can go up, you can go down. And then we'll do a little review once it's up and running on some of the welds. And, you know, let's take a look at this foot pedal before we go. We're about through all this stuff. Foot pedal looks okay. I mean, we'll see. It's got a nice spring to it. You know, some people might like it a little bit softer, so you're not sitting there thinking about pushing the pedals. It's more like resting your foot, but it doesn't seem too bad. There's the control on the side, so it's going to be your range. This is going to hook up right here in the front. What do we got? Yeah, it's going to hook up right there in the front. Just be careful, don't yank on these, because I can see, I mean, this doesn't look bad quality, but any welder, if you leave this thing laying out and trip, you know, I don't know how well this thing is like structurally built, so just be careful with the fittings. So I picked up 2 of these just to kind of test this thing out. It's just some general purpose aluminum rods, some 40-30 aluminum 1/16, and then I got some ER70 S2. These are 3/32 mild steel rods, so I just had to pick up something to lay down some beads and see if I like this thing. I really gotta, you know, utilize that 90-day, no questions asked return. Because if it's a piece of junk, I'm taking it back. But hopefully it's not, and hopefully it's good. It's an awesome price, I'd say, to get into it, and you know, I think that's gonna be it.
All right, guys. Well, this is it for our tool review. I guess it's not a review, just introduction. We're still gonna use it and review it and let you know how everything works. But I appreciate your time watching this, and I hope you like the video. So stay tuned for more content on all this tooling and how it's gonna work out. Thank you again for your time. Take it easy and keep improving your build.